Thrilled to welcome Symphony 3 to the Local Government News Roundup family. If you're a local council, you know how challenging it can be to manage data across all your different systems. That's where Symphony 3 comes in. They've developed Smart Glue, a platform that integrates over 55 council systems, automating data flow without the need for manual work. It turns confusion into simplicity. With Smart Glue, councils save time, reduce errors and empower staff to focus on what really matters. Their clients see a real difference, up to 20% boost in productivity, with savings of over $30,000 per integration every year. Symphony 3 helps councils work smarter, faster and more efficiently, all while better supporting the communities they serve. Mayors under pressure to resign from within. Brimbank calls for rail before runway in a new campaign. More than 500,000 failure to vote notices on their way to Victorians. An interim federal report into local government sustainability released. Council spending under the microscope in New South Wales. Mackay's CEO resigns amid controversy, and a former CEO launches legal action against his council. That's all just ahead. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. This is the Local Government News Roundup for Wednesday, the 19th of February, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. Thanks for joining me for Australia's #1 local government podcast. Last night, Whittlesea City Council unanimously passed a motion of no confidence in its mayor, Aidan McClendon, after receiving a petition calling for his resignation from the office of mayor. The petition, with more than 1,100 signatures, stated that residents have lost faith in the ability of Councillor McClendon to carry out the duties of the mayoral office after his decision to contest the recent Werribee by-election. The council has called on him to resign the office of mayor and will send its resolution and the petition to the Minister for Local Government. Councillor McClendon declared a conflict of interest in relation to the matter and left the chamber while the matter was discussed. A supporter of Councillor McClendon in the gallery was asked to leave after repeatedly interjecting during the council's consideration of the motion. Councillor McClendon returned to close the meeting and made no immediate comment about the resolution. Brimbank City Council has launched a Rail Before Runway campaign, advocating for the completion of Melbourne Airport Rail before the construction of a third runway at Melbourne Airport. The initiative comes as Melbourne Airport's third runway is set for completion in 2031, with passenger numbers projected to reach 83 million by 2046. The movement is gaining significant public support, with 72% of surveyed Melburnians backing the prioritisation of airport rail link and improved bus services over other projects. Extensive electrical vandalism at Toomuck Recreation Reserve has disrupted power to sporting pavilions and sewer services, prompting Cardinia Shire Council to implement temporary measures, including a generator, security fencing and mobile CCTV. The council expects power to be restored within 2 weeks while investigations continue, and Victoria Police is seeking public assistance for any information regarding the incident. The damage includes approximately 400 metres of cut copper cables and damaged switchboards. East Gippsland farmers will soon have their say on the future operation of the region's livestock exchange. The Shire Council has announced a community consultation process starting next month as part of an ongoing commercial review of the sale yards. The council has stressed it is not selling the facility, but rather seeking the most effective operating model while maintaining council ownership. Around 500,000 Victorian residents who missed voting in last October's local council elections will soon be receiving notices in their mailboxes. Electoral Commissioner Sven Blumel has emphasised that the notices are not fines, but rather an opportunity for residents to explain their absence from the polls. Residents will have 28 days to respond in writing with their explanation. Those who fail to do so face a $99 penalty. The Commissioner strongly advises providing a detailed explanation with supporting evidence to increase the chances of being excused. 8 Victorian animal shelters are joining forces this weekend in a major adoption drive called Mission Adoptable. The initiative, running from February 21 to 23, aims to find forever homes for pets across the state. Participating shelters include the Bendigo Animal Relief Centre and are offering significantly reduced adoption fees. Dogs and cats will be available for just $50, while smaller pets like rabbits can be adopted for $20. More council news items in brief. The Shepparton Cycling Precinct Velodrome has received a significant upgrade with new 300 lux LED lighting that meets Oz cycling standards. The improvements include a new multi-use pavilion and enhanced BMX facilities. Cardinia Shire Council has endorsed key advocacy priorities for the upcoming federal election, focusing on 4 major projects: the Lang Lang Sand Truck Bypass, a road sealing package, Cardinia Life redevelopment and Princess Highway intersection upgrades. The projects aim to address critical infrastructure needs in one of Victoria's fastest growing municipalities, where 3 new households move in daily. And new kindergartens in Dimboola and Nil have been officially opened, funded by the Victorian Government through different grant programs. The facilities are operated by Emerge Early Years Services on behalf of Hindmarsh Shire Council. You're listening to the Local Government News Roundup for Wednesday the 19th of February, brought to you by the VLGA with support from Symphony 3. And coming on Friday on the next edition of VLGA Connect, I'll be joined by Mornington Peninsula Shire Mayor Anthony Marsh to talk about the council's move towards open councillor briefing sessions and the latest on that landslip in Mackay. He says he's still waiting for a reply from the state government after writing to seek assistance almost a month ago.
We wrote to the state government on the 21st of January asking for urgent support, either financial, technical or both. Sadly, they came out, without responding to that letter, came out obviously in a very public way and called for a board of inquiry looking backwards. I guess you'd call it an autopsy. The problem is it's now, I think we're 29 days since I wrote that letter. I've heard nothing. So they came out and did the very public, finger pointing activity in front of the cameras. But other than that, we've heard absolutely nothing from the state, which is, I think it's quite disgraceful, to be honest.
Councillor Marsh speaks of his disappointment after 8 properties were burgled last week and fingers were pointed at the council.
So council stepped in when the police withdrew some of their resources. Patrols are probably not as high as we would like them to be. So we backfilled that with private security. But, anyone would know ratepayers shouldn't be funding private security in lieu of policing, right? That's clearly not the responsibility or the role of council. So we've put, again, a bit more pressure on the state saying, we're not Victoria Police. We can't possibly be expected to do this. And even if we get private security, it's obviously no replacement. Even as a deterrent, it doesn't have the same sort of impact of a police car doing the rounds or police walking on the street. So the police installed a new CCTV surveillance sort of trailer out the front of the unit block that was the main target, and that's great. So, if nothing else, the advocacy seemed to put a bit of pressure on, and, that was incredibly welcomed by the residents in the area.
Tune in to VLGA Connect coming late Friday for my full conversation with Councillor Anthony Marsh, the Mayor of Mornington Peninsula Shire. We talk about open councillor briefing sessions and the hunt for a new CEO. Also in that edition, Councillor Rhonda Garrard will join me from Greater Dandenong Council to tell us why she feels so strongly about opening up councillor briefing sessions to the public. That's all on VLGA Connect and much more this week, coming to you on YouTube and podcast on Friday. An interim report from a federal parliamentary committee inquiry into local government sustainability has been released. The inquiry received 287 submissions and held 16 public hearings around the country. The purpose of the interim report is to provide an update on work undertaken to date and to highlight emerging themes. They include an exponential expansion of the role of local governments beyond the 3 R's of roads, rates and rubbish, the impact of evolving infrastructure requirements, service delivery obligations and cost shifting, and challenges with the application of federal assistance grants. The evidence received is being reviewed and the community will make its final recommendations in due course. The Australian Local Government Association says the Parliamentary Inquiry's interim report confirms the urgent need for reform of local government funding models and is calling for increased federal funding to support councils facing mounting responsibilities and financial pressures. The City of Sydney has become the first council in New South Wales to pass a boycott, divestment and sanctions motion, according to a report from City Hub. The decision made on Monday night confirms the council will not conduct business with companies involved in Israeli settlements. The motion received near unanimous support, with only one dissenting vote from Liberal councillor Lyndon Gannon. Greens councillors Sylvie Ellsmore and Matthew Thompson praised the decision as a crucial step in ensuring community funds are not linked to human rights abuses. BDS Australia has welcomed the decision, while the Australian Jewish Association has strongly criticised the move, claiming it could lead to increased anti-Semitism in Sydney. Council spending is under the spotlight in New South Wales as more councils move towards significant rate rises. The Daily Telegraph has reported that the 2016 council amalgamations across Sydney, which cost $627 million to implement, have largely failed to deliver on promised cost savings. Most merged councils are now spending significantly more on staffing than their pre-merger equivalents. Former Premier Mike Baird's promise of $2 billion in savings over 20 years has not materialised, with only 2 out of 8 amalgamated councils in Greater Sydney spending less on total staffing costs than before the mergers. Wallsend MP Sonia Hornery has criticised Newcastle City Council for what she describes as excessive spending, including Christmas party expenses and ticketless parking fines, while highlighting concerns about high rates. The Newcastle Herald reported that the council has defended its financial management, citing strong performance metrics and budget surplus, while pointing out that it receives fewer government grants than other councils and maintains competitive waste charges. Lake Macquarie Council has secured temporary accommodation for hundreds of staff displaced by last November's Administrative Centre fire. CEO Morven Cameron says around 400 indoor workers will be based at a former Ausgrid building in Wallsend for the next 6 months, while repairs continue at the Spears Point facility. The move comes as police investigate an alleged arson attack at the Administrative Centre on the 27th of November. A $14.7 million road project in Orange's southern outskirts has opened to traffic, with the newly named Brabham Way extending 1.7 kilometres from the Mitchell Highway through a new roundabout at Shirley Road. The project, funded by multiple government sources and the council, includes a $3.1 million upgrade of Shirley Road and aims to enhance connections between growing residential areas and key health and industrial zones. Maitland City Council is seeking community input for an updated floodplain risk management study, coinciding with the 70th anniversary of the 1955 Hunter Valley flood. The study, developed in partnership with WMA Water, aims to better understand flood risks and develop management strategies, with a final plan to be exhibited for community comment in 2026. Some big news coming out of Queensland. Mackay Regional Council CEO Scott Owen has resigned effective immediately after serving in the role since November 2022. The resignation follows speculation about his future, with media reports that he was on leave amid allegations that some councillors were discussing his future in informal off-site meetings. Executive Officer David McKendry has stepped in as acting CEO, and recruitment will commence for a permanent replacement. Mayor Greg Williamson has expressed appreciation for Mr Owen's transformative contributions to the council. Former Tablelands Regional Council CEO Brian Reinhardt has launched legal action against his former employer through the Industrial Relations Commission. That's according to reporting from the Express newspaper. The move comes after his sudden departure last October, when he left the position with 9 months remaining on his contract. The circumstances surrounding Mr Reinhardt's exit remain unclear, with the council only stating he had concluded his term. It's the third CEO turnover for the council in just 4 years. The case is set to resume at the Commission this Thursday. An independent investigation has found that Gold Coast councillor Brooke Patterson acted aggressively towards council staff on multiple occasions last year. ABC News reported that she's been ordered to make a public apology and undergo behavioural training. The investigation substantiated claims that Councillor Patterson had aggressively confronted staff during a meeting and was abusive during a phone call. While Councillor Patterson describes her behaviour as direct and robust, CEO Tim Baker rejected any suggestion that senior staff should be treated differently when it comes to workplace safety. More news in brief. Banana Shire Council has released its 2025 investment prospectus, showcasing opportunities across renewable energy, manufacturing, resource recovery and agriculture sectors. The prospectus outlines plans for industrial expansion and workforce development to drive regional economic growth. Clarence City Council has launched Southern Tasmania's first council-operated soft plastics recycling service. From February 14, residents can drop off items like plastic bags and food wrapping at 2 locations in a bid to reduce the 1,400 tonnes of soft plastics currently going to landfill every year. And Ballina Shire Council has launched a new website featuring enhanced search capabilities, interactive mapping and integrated community engagement features to improve the digital experience for residents. The modern platform includes a What's Around Me tool for discovering local facilities and services. Now on the Local Government News Roundup, some Tasmanian news. Tensions are running high at Hobart City Council, with 4 councillors calling for Lord Mayor Anna Reynolds to step down, according to a report from ABC News. A damning Ombudsman's report found that Councillor Reynolds breached Tasmania's personal information laws when she disclosed details about a fellow councillor's attempt to book the Town Hall ballroom. While she acknowledges the findings and has committed to additional training, Councillor Reynolds claims the matter is being weaponised by a small group of elected members. The local government minister is reviewing a formal request for action from the 4 dissenting councillors. West Coast Mayor Shane Pitt has hailed a significant advocacy victory after the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, confirmed legislation to secure the future of the Macquarie Harbour salmon farming industry and protect all existing jobs. It follows an 18-month campaign that united the local community, particularly in Strawn. Mayor Pitt said the community was breathing a collective sigh of relief at the news. In Adelaide, the Lord Mayor, Jane Lomax-Smith, says South Australians are delighted with the news that Live Golf has secured a long-term commitment to remain in South Australia until at least 2031. There are plans to relocate to the North Adelaide Golf Course in a move expected to bring significant economic benefits. The council previously looked at upgrading the North Adelaide course, but Mayor Lomax-Smith said it was determined not to be a high priority at the time. The District Council of Orroroo-Carriton has announced the return of a familiar face to its top job. Stephen Rufus has been appointed as the council's new Chief Executive Officer, a position he previously held from 2014 to 2017. Mayor Grant Chapman says Mr Rufus brings valuable experience to the role, having most recently served as Director of Community and Corporate at Port Pirie Regional Council. The appointment follows the departure of former CEO Paul Simpson in December. Mr Rufus will take up his new position on the 31st of March. To Western Australia, a Perth family is demanding $5,000 in compensation from the city of Swan after their dog was poisoned by castor bean plants growing on council land. Yahoo News reported that the toxic seeds from the invasive species blew into the family's backyard from a council-managed reserve, leading to expensive veterinary treatment for ricin poisoning. The council has initiated removal and spraying operations to manage the invasive weeds, and Mayor Tanya Richardson has confirmed that specialist contractors have been engaged for further spraying and removal of the plants in more inaccessible areas. And several Perth councils are urging the state government to intervene in what they're describing as the worst mosquito breeding season on record. The cities of Bayswater, Swan, Belmont and the town of Bassendean say they're struggling to manage unprecedented mosquito numbers along the Swan River. Bayswater Mayor Philomena Piferetti says the combination of high tides, increased humidity and higher temperatures has created perfect breeding conditions for mosquitoes. Despite using modern technologies like drone-delivered larvicide, local councils say their resources are stretched too thin to effectively combat the problem. The councils are calling for better funding and a coordinated approach from the WA Department of Health, particularly given that several breeding sites are located on state government land. Sad news to commence our global roundup today. Barry Panter, the Mayor of Newcastle-under-Lyme in the UK, has tragically passed away following a road accident. He leaves behind a legacy of public service that included roles in the RAF, South Wales Constabulary and local government. His career was marked by dedication to community service, from his military service to his police work, and finally as a local councillor and mayor, during which he focused on raising funds for the Salvation Army and Headway North Staffordshire. North Somerset Council is set to begin the search for a new chief executive following the announcement that Jo Walker will step down from her role in May. Ms Walker, who's led the council for over 6 years, is heading back to Gloucestershire County Council, where she'll take up the position of chief executive. During her tenure at North Somerset, Ms Walker oversaw several major infrastructure projects and guided the council through the COVID pandemic. Council leader Mike Bell praised her inclusive and forward-thinking leadership style. She'll begin her new role at Gloucestershire on the 19th of May. In the US, in what's being described as a major move toward transparency, officials in Salt Lake City, Utah, have unveiled a new online dashboard to monitor the city's public safety plan progress. The data reveals encouraging trends, with overall crime dropping 25% in the past 3 years, despite a slight uptick in violent crime. Mayor Erin Mendenhall's ambitious 27-point action plan, launched just last month, aims to tackle both public safety and homelessness concerns. Speaking about the initiative, Mayor Mendenhall emphasised the importance of public accountability, stating that residents deserve to see the tangible progress being made in their city. Voters in Katy, Texas will head to the polls in May to decide whether to double the amount of time city council members can serve consecutively. The proposed change would extend term limits from 6 to 12 years. Currently, Katy has one of the shortest term limits in southeast Texas, with council members serving 3-year terms with a maximum of 6 consecutive years. ABC Local News reported the measure was passed by a narrow 3-2 council vote to be placed on the May ballot. In Canada, Vancouver City Council has taken a bold stance in response to mounting trade tensions with the United States, according to CTV News. In a unanimous decision, the council last week passed a motion prioritising Canadian businesses in city procurement contracts. Mayor Ken Sim emphasised a Team Canada approach as the city aims to redirect millions in spending toward domestic suppliers. Last year alone, Vancouver spent over $6 million with American vendors. Saskatoon City Council and Saskatchewan Party MLAs have met for the first time in 18 years to discuss pressing issues including homelessness, housing and public safety. CJWW Radio reported that the meeting focused primarily on addressing homelessness as the top priority, and it may lead to more regular discussions between provincial and municipal governments. And to New Zealand, Hamilton City Council is taking a stand against illegal dumping, approving over $200,000 in annual funding to tackle the growing problem. The initiative, which aligns with the Waikato Times Enough of This Rubbish campaign, will likely see 2 new full-time staff members dedicated to addressing dumping hotspots across the city. Councillor Sarah Thompson says recent surveillance revealed 19 instances of illegal dumping in just 1 hour around a couple of hotspots. And Dunedin City Council is expanding its zero-carbon business support pilot program to help more small and medium enterprises reduce emissions, cut costs and strengthen their resilience through customised carbon footprint reports and climate action plans. The program, which previously supported 14 businesses across various industries, will enter its second phase in March, offering local businesses the opportunity to become leaders in climate action while improving their bottom line. You've been listening to the Local Government News Roundup, edition number 429, recorded on the 19th of February 2025. For more on any of those stories, head to lgnewsroundup.com for story links and a transcript. If you have comments or feedback and story suggestions, you can send us an email to lgweeklynews@gmail.com. The Roundup is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, your councillor support network, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. And I'm grateful to the many of you who help make the podcast possible by supporting us through a monthly subscription. Support starts at $3 per month, less than $5 Australian, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. Details on the website or in your podcast player. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thank you for listening and bye for now. A councillor's commitment to community doesn't stop when their time as an elected representative ends. In recognition of this and to strengthen its ongoing support for former councillors, the VLGA has launched an alumni program. open to anyone who has held an elected position in local government. By becoming a VLGA alumnus, former councillors will have access to VLGA programs and special alumni networking events, as well as the opportunity to participate in forums and share key learnings and insights to inform sector advocacy. You'll be kept up to date on local government news and be able to participate in VLGA events and professional development opportunities at a special VLGA alumni member rate. To find out more about this exciting opportunity, visit www.vlga.org.au.